Welcome back to Assist Insights for Manufacturing. I'm David Barrow, and today we'll be talking about market volatility, whether it's tariffs, raw materials, prices, supply chain disruptions, or even cyber threats. And the big question is, how do you build a workforce and a culture that can stay strong in the middle of all that? To help us explore that, I'm joined by Tammy, Senior Vice President of Marsh McLennan Agency. Tammy brings over 20 years of experience in the insurance and risk management world, working especially with manufacturing and food and beverage companies. She's not just about placing coverage, she's passionate about partnering with leaders to reduce the total cost of risk. Tammy also serves on the Northern Illinois Food Bank Executive Women's Council and is active in women in manufacturing, which tells you something important about her. She's committed to giving back and making an impact both inside and outside the workplace. Tammy, it's an honor to be with you today.
Thanks, David.
Let's start with the big picture. From your perspective, what do you see as the biggest forces driving market volatility today? Is it economic, political, social, or a mixture?
It's a mixture. I think there's a lot of things coming at all the different companies, from tariffs to higher prices with raw materials, trying to still be profitable when all of their costs are going up. Definitely supply chain, all the disruption is causing a lot of headaches for companies, as well as cyber threats. We see that everywhere, and I think every company out there is being affected by that.
All right. When those volatility factors show up, how are they reshaping the way manufacturers approach workforce planning and hiring today?
I would definitely see a lot of things that clients have been talking about, is I think they need to hire some more employees, but they're cautious in bringing more people on board if they're going to have to cut costs somewhere. So I think they're more hesitant. I also think that, they have to reevaluate the employees they do have. Are they going to be able to shift into these more technological roles as we continue to change the way, manufacturing is?
This is another significant disruptive force, is this integration of technology and AI into, all businesses. Through my clients, I see AI showing up in customer service, showing up in quality control, where the technology can actually assess the final product to determine if it's the right color, if all the pieces are in place, and so forth. And then, as you said, production analytics, this is really where AI shines. So you've said before that creating a culture of safety is one of the most strategic actions a company can take. What does that look like in practice?
One of the things that I focus on, and I think it really relates to all the uncertainty going on, is if you're not controlling everything that you possibly can, then you're not going to be able to handle all the other unknown. If you go into it looking at, I am going to control what I can, and creating that safety culture, we know that we're not going to just have unnecessary costs, right? We're also not going to have disruption with our workforce. If somebody's doesn't have a claim and they're not off of work, then we can keep running our products and we don't have to worry about that. So the more we can integrate safety into our facility, we can keep everybody working, we can get product out the door. I think it's key to all manufacturing. And so making sure that your employees are on board, that also helps, integrate your employees. They want to be there. They know that, my employer cares about me. That's another aspect of keeping them engaged. So it does help in a lot of different areas.
Now, some leaders see safety as a compliance. Could they sort of present it as a strategic advantage?
You can tell when a company has it just as a check the box because, their employees, they don't care about it. They're just doing their job. You're going to have a lot of different claims. You're going to have, whereas if it's really truly ingrained from top down within an organization, you can tell. I mean, you can walk out on the plant floor. If there's a spill on the floor, on the ground, someone's going to clean it up right away. They're going to pick up that scrap. They're not going to just walk right over it. Another thing that we see a lot is employees actually identify where there could be an issue that's not safe and ask for help for, their manager to step in and fix something, right? You can definitely tell if there's a culture or not. It's more about action and making sure that the employees understand what the programs are and getting their commitment to be involved in that process. And again, it's a team effort, right? It's not just, the supervisors, it's the employees, I mentioned like safety committees, right? Getting the buy-in, right? So it's not just, our team coming out and doing those walkthroughs. It's getting the employees involved as well.
All right. So some companies are holding off based on this market volatility on hiring until market conditions stabilize. What would you say to them?
I would definitely encourage them to look at all options. Just don't do what you've been doing, but you know, maybe you weren't using temp staffing, right? So maybe you do need to, explore that avenue. Maybe you don't have your employees working overtime, and maybe you need to look at that. Do you add a shift? I think that you really do have to look at the big picture and to see how do you get through this, challenging time. Maybe you don't want to hire, the other 10 people that you really need right now. So how can you accommodate that? What can you do within your company to help you get through it?
It really sort of puts staffing companies right in the focus because it's where we shine to where as production increases and decreases, you can bring a workforce
Right.
in under contract or contract to hire or temp to hire, and even sort of evaluate the workers under those contracts and arrangements. So you've worked with a lot of manufacturers. What distinguishes the organizations that are most resilient in times of change?
I definitely think companies who have partners, right? You're in this together. And I say that because right now, probably more than ever, going into a client and almost taking a step back and looking from, the beginning to the end and like, what are you guys currently doing? Where are some weaknesses? What are you not performing well? What do you need to do differently? And find areas where we can help.
All right, last question. If if a manufacturing leader listening today could take just one step this quarter to make their workforce and risk strategy more resilient, what would you encourage them to do?
Well, I definitely would encourage them to look at what they're doing currently and really take that big holistic approach and strategize with the entire team, from operations to human resources to the line to make things better so that we can get through all of this uncertainty. Because you'd be surprised. I mean, there's areas where, you really haven't had to maybe analyze to help the company, right? So I think that's where, again, I would say is to take a step back and
Mhm.
really do a deep dive into how things have been going. What do we need to do differently? Whether it's getting different suppliers, because we're running into issues with, raw goods going up. Maybe we're sourcing them from out of the country and we need to try to look at different ways of doing that to save some money. Um, Maybe we're shorthanded on staff. So, how do we fill that void, right? Is it hiring temp staffing? Is it running some additional overtime? Again, how and where we can do that at. And the safety piece of it, I think that's huge. Again,
Mhm.
try to control what you can to help prepare for what's the uncertain that's around the corner that you don't know that necessarily is going to happen.
Well, that's solid and practical advice. Thank you very much, Tammy and MMA, for joining us today. And So next time on Assist Insights for Manufacturing, we're going to be talking about budget efficiencies. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Sure. Have a great day. Thanks, David.